Hello, everybody. It's Mr. John. I'm going to read a book with you today that is going to talk about some of the different weather things that we have been seeing, and we'll probably see a little bit more going forward. It is a book that is called How Are Rain, Snow, and Hail Alike? And we are going to go through this. I'll have some supplementary pictures to do a little bit more illustration of the ideas that they're talking about. But while we may see some different weather during the winter, fall, and spring, it's not necessarily different stuff that we're having to deal with that's falling down. So let's get started. Different in many ways. When heavy rain falls from the sky, it quickly makes people wet. When soft snow falls, it gently settles on skin and clothes. When icy hail falls, it can hurt anyone it hits. Raindrops, snowflakes, and hailstones are different from each other in many ways. Are there also ways they are alike? So what we're going to be talking about today is rain, which is water. We're going to be talking about snow, which I think everybody here is familiar with. And we're also going to talk about hail. Now, this is the same thing as hail. It's an ice cube. And what everything has in common is that this is all different forms of water, including the snow. It all begins with water. One way in which rain, snow, and hail are alike is that they fall from the sky. How does this happen? It all begins with the water in oceans, lakes, rivers, and ponds. As the sun warms the water, some of it changes. It turns from a liquid into a gas called water vapor. The vapor floats up into the air. And it's the process called evaporation. So if you've ever seen steam, whether it's a pot on the stove, if it is a jacuzzi in the winter, that is water turning into a gas. You could also pour some water onto a sidewalk when it's warm and sunny outside, and you can see what happens. If you wait long enough, the water will disappear into the air. It's not possible to see water vapor, yet it is in the air all around us. Every second of every day, some of Earth's water is changing into vapor. Making clouds. The water vapor soon rises high above Earth where the air is cold. The cold air causes the vapor to turn into tiny water droplets that stick to bits of dust floating in the air. These droplets join with billions of others to form clouds. And the same thing happens to the water vapor when it forms clouds as what happens when you see water form on the cold can of pop. Same thing is going on. Making rain. Inside a cloud, the tiny water droplets join together to make bigger drops. Soon, the drops get even bigger and heavier. Then they fall back to Earth as raindrops. The raindrops are water that has moved from Earth into the sky and back to Earth again. This movement of water is called the water cycle. So you see this picture here, it's hard to see the rain because while it's rain, it doesn't show up well in photographs. You can see it hitting the surface of the water that the swans are in. But I found another picture of rain that might look a little more familiar to some of you. If you've ever carried an umbrella and your socks have gotten wet when you run through a puddle, that's because of the rain. Rain falls into oceans, lakes, rivers, and ponds. It might even make a puddle on land. Soon the rainwater may begin to turn into vapor and go through the water cycle again. So if you look at this picture here, step 1, the sun warms the water. Step 2, water vapor rises into the air. Step 3, water droplets form clouds. Step 4, rain falls back to earth, and it just goes in a big circle over and over and over again. Let it snow. Sometimes the air around a cloud is very cold. Then the water droplets freeze into tiny ice crystals instead of becoming raindrops. The crystals are the size of the period at the end of this sentence. So super teeny tiny. They stick together to form snowflakes. Then snow falls from the clouds instead of rain. So when we see snow, that's just in reality super cold rain. Same idea. Snow stays on the ground when the air is cold. When the air warms up, what do you think happens? What happens next when the air gets warm again? A disappearing snowman. Snow on the ground means it's time to build a snowman. When the weather stays very cold, a snowman may last for weeks. When the air warms up, however, the snowman begins to melt. The warmth of the sun soon changes the snowman back into water. So there's a melting snowman. So how do hailstones form? Hailstones form inside a thunderstorm cloud when the wind blows the cloud's tiny water droplets way up high. There, the air is super cold and the droplets freeze into balls of ice. These frozen ice balls, called hailstones, fall back down lower in the cloud. Water droplets stick to them. Then the hailstones get blown high up in the cloud and the new droplets freeze. So they go up and they freeze, come down, they get more water, they go back up, they freeze again, and they grow in size, bigger and bigger and bigger. This picture here shows the layers of ice inside of a hailstone. So here's the first little bit, and then there's some more water, and then there's another layer added, kind of like rings on a tree. Soon the hailstones are too heavy to stay floating in the cloud. They fall to earth as hail. It takes about 10 billion tiny water droplets to make one big hailstone that's the size of a golf ball. And to become as large as a golf ball, a hailstone has to spend as much as 10 minutes going up and down inside a thunderstorm cloud. Be careful if it's hailing outside. They can hurt you if you get hit. Different but alike. Raindrops, snowflakes, and hailstones may look very different from each other. Yet there are many ways in which they are alike. They all develop high in the sky inside clouds. Then they fall to earth. Most important of all, they are all made of water. All of these different kinds of weather become precipitation. That's a super scientific word for it. So that is the end of the book. There are some activities that families can do with students to measure weather, measure precipitation, and learn some more of the technical terms. And if you would like to have access to that book, please let me know, and or Andrea or Ms. Cassie, and we will get you the link to the book. I hope you enjoyed the learning about the different kinds of precipitation, and keep an eye out for that snow. We know it's coming. Have a good day.